All right, guys. Happy Monday. I don't know if everybody has really received the news. Yeah, big, unfortunate news within our Optavia community. It definitely kind of rocked our whole Optavia family to get the unexpected and heartbreaking news that Dr. A, our co-founder, his wife Lori, unexpectedly passed away. And just in her sleep. So as far as we know, it was a very, peaceful way to go, but very unexpected. She was, you talk about like the epitome of health and well-being, and she took exceptional care of herself. So it just really, really stunned everybody in the whole community. We want to be respectful and honor her. And so we didn't necessarily prepare a whole big training or anything tonight. We wanted to provide kind of a safe space for any of you that are even potentially kind of grieving that loss too, if you wanted to share anything or go over anything. But even for those of you that didn't have the opportunity and the fortune to really get to know her, we wanted to just share a little bit of the legacy that she did leave, because she is the reason that you guys are all here. She was our very first health coach. And I have the utmost respect for her. So I know that Dr. A is really the one that gets a lot of the spotlight for everything that he's done. But when you think of Lori's story, she's really just as much should have that same recognition and that same resolve of what she committed to. So for you guys that don't know much of kind of their backstory even, Dr. A was a critical care physician, very successful at that. I think it was the 10th board certified.
Right when critical care started to become a specialty. Critical care is when you have a doctor in charge of basically the entire body. If you go to the hospital, you have pulmonologists, cardiologists, you have all different kinds of surgeons. They're all specialties. And they said, this is getting too in the weeds. We want something to control all of it. So critical care was born out of that. And they have critical care floors now. And it's kind of like an ICU where it's like everybody's got to work together and there's one doctor in charge of all of it.
So he looks over essentially the whole person, all the systems. And so he was very, very successful at that field, but he was also really kind of beating his head up against the wall because he's giving people these life-saving surgeries to see them back in a matter of 6 months to a year, sometimes needing the exact same surgery because they didn't correct their lifestyle, their habits, everything else that plays into moving somebody forward. And so as successful as he was, he really just saw that this is such a broken system, and he really desired to create something completely new. So Lori, on the other side of this, they had been, married very happily, had 2 little girls.
Yeah, she was a nurse.
She was a nurse. So they were both, really successful in their fields. But Dr. A kind of went home and had shared with her even he, was frustrated at the system, but also that he talked a lot that he was giving his girls kisses and it felt like they were mannequins because he only saw them when they were sleeping. And so we all know that's what this was all born out of, is he said, I want to create a new model, and I want to create a new model where people get to center their lives around the people and the things that matter most to them, but also have a very tangible way to help people live a longer, healthier life.
Right. Right. We kind of felt, well, at least when I was reflecting on it, Megan and I have been in the healthcare field now since you were 18. Yeah, since I was 18, and I was a lifeguard, first responder beforehand too. But we've worked in this system for so long, you don't have to spend very long in it to realize it's broken. And we both had the heart to help people through our family members that were sick and injured or something like that. And I don't know how many nights over dinners and drinks that we'd be like, man, this is horrible. Like, this is hard. Like, this patient passed away today. This patient came in and they have this big mess going on. And like, gosh, there's gotta be a better way. And, we've had that complaint time and time again. And so to understand Dr. A and Lori's situation, it's like they were those people just like we were. But they just said, well, let's change it. And I just go, wow, how much respect. I just think of all the respect that I have for both of them, because it was so tough to leave that system. While it has those imperfections, it also breeds a lot of stability, and it's so scary to leave it. but what they knew was they were doing something better, not just for the patients, and I don't even want to call them patients, not just for the people in our world, but also for the people who practice that kind of work. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for the practitioners. It's not healthy for, doctors and nurses and all that kind of thing. So it was so consistent. And I laugh because in the clinic, I'm telling people to work out, and meanwhile I don't work out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just love that he put his money where his mouth was, really, and just said, well, let's go. We know a little bit more about his story, that they sold everything. They sold everything back east. They sold everything, and they kept their convertible, and they lived off of credit, which is not advisable. But they believed in this dream for so long. It took years, and then they partnered with the company that that produces the fuelings and things like that. But man, they didn't know.
Yeah. But I think for all of us women, right? I think all of us actually are moms. And so you just kind of put yourself in Lori's position to say, sure, honey, like, let's sell everything. Let's go. You'll bury yourself in a cabin and write a book.
That's what he did.
Yeah. And I'll raise these 2 little girls and like, let's do it. And so to put myself in Lori's position, to think of how brave she had to be to back his dreams even too. But then to really become that true partner too, to become our first health coach, so that we all have this example and we all have this model of what it looks like to love other people well, to walk alongside them as they're moving forward, and creating that safe space for them to even explore what do they desire in life and what do they want. And Lori, she didn't have a lot of the spotlight necessarily. She was up on stage, presenting here and there, but I feel like I gained so much from just watching her example.
Yeah.
And watching her love. The love that she had between her and Dr. A was something really unique and really special, and just a true partnership in business and in life and in just deep, deep love. She was really, like exactly what Brandon said, like they walk the talk. Like, they don't just say, like, center your life around what matters. Like, they modeled it for us. They really put their daughters first, and did a lot for them. And she even is so much of the reason why Dr. A is able to be on his game at such a high level for all of us even too. So we just, again, really wanted to take a little bit of time to honor Lori and all that she has set out to do. And I would love to hear from all of you, like I said, whether you knew her or not. I would love to, because I'm trying to consider and process some of this on my own. It really, I am still very much grieving that friendship that I had with her. She was such a special and warm woman. And really, again, somebody that I wanted to model my life after so much, because of, again, her love for her kids and how much she did for them, but then how much she made a huge impact in serving. They had it at, which was it, a convention where they've ended up now impacting over 1 million lives as a result. And so to consider just that one brave yes. And for her, it was a huge brave yes. Like, for many of us, it's like, sure, I'll just kind of dip my toe in and get used to this.
You have a person telling you, like, I've done this for 4 years. And then we had people saying, we've done this for 8 years. And then they've had people say, we've done this for all the years, 15 years that the company's been around, almost 20 now. But she was going in totally blind. Yeah.
So I would love to hear from any of you that want to pop off mute. What can we do as an organization, as individual, business owners and health coaches of your own coaching practice? What can we do this month, and then especially just moving forward, to really honor the legacy that Lori started for all of us? I know one thing that I just consider that they both wanted to just continue to accelerate this mission. They really wanted to continue to empower other people to take hold and to center their lives around what matters most and help them move forward. So I would love to hear if anybody wants to pop off mute. What can we do to honor Lori and continue to represent that life well lived?
We are not going to fill the silence. You guys are going to
talk. I'd love to hear anything.
Who got to meet her?
Well, I'll talk. I've never talked before.
Yay, awesome.
What makes me really sad is that I'm so new that I didn't really know much about her until Melissa shared with me over the weekend, but it just broke my heart. So I don't know. I mean, and it's really cool just to learn even more that she was like our first health coach. Just you saying that right now, I was like, wow, I didn't know that. What a legacy. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I love this company so much is I've been in the healthcare industry now for the last, 22 years now. And over the last 10 years, I just got really disenchanted with it because the realities are just horrible. And, you know, I'm supporting physicians doing billing and credentialing, trying to help them, you know, but the more that I just see how healthcare has gone. So anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail. But anyway, I just think that, you know, it would be, I don't know, just as a health coach following in her legacy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we could do to honor her, but I just wanted to say hi. And
yeah.
Were you on the training on Saturday?
What's that?
Did you watch the training on Saturday?
This past Saturday, I have not yet. No.
We were on there. Corey Baker led it and was just like, you know, Lori taught this. So what they covered that day was starting clients, right? And so he said nobody did that better than Lori. So it's just one of those things where, I mean, honestly, it's hard to think of something practical, but I mean, keep coming up with stuff. It's hard to come up with something practical, but I just feel like it's in my resolve, you know, because of what they started, right? What they started, what they were trying to do, and what's actually in place now. Like we can, I don't know, the stronger we, I don't know, the orientation to the mission and just,
you know, really, you know, pushing the, I guess, legacy of the true healing of what, you know, this program brings, I think is what I see Dr. A's heart. And then Lori, you know, being the mom, and that I love because moms were the doctors of our houses, right? You know, and I don't know. So the more that I learn, you know, even about Dr. A and now Lori, that's just where my heart kind of sings with what I hear.
You're amazing.
This is Christina.
Hi.
Hi. So like one of the cool things is that I did get to, like, I didn't know a lot about her before Go Global. But it was such an honor to be able to hear her speak, and then even hear like some of her testimonies about like getting things started and what that looked like for her, and like the big step that took. And then in addition to that, like how it's kind of morphed over the years. And she just really spoke about like all of what she had done and all of what she had provided, not in a way of like boastfulness, but really just to like let people know what the possibilities were, and like what a joy it's been in her life to partner with people in doing these things. And so that was just like such an honor to be able to get to hear from her directly, like straight from the horse's mouth, you know, and having all of these years of experience. And she really just said, you know, like, get out of your own head. You have something super great to offer. And so like any barriers, she was just really advocating for like any barrier of the mind that you might have, like get that out of there, because that's going to be the only thing stopping you. So I just love the confidence that she spoke about. Or the confidence like that she embodied when speaking about like the program and everything that people, you know, could achieve in their health if they just did X, Y, and Z. So it was definitely a privilege.
I still think, I don't know if any of you guys saw the picture I shared of her from the stage.
I was
but
just going to say that. Yeah.
She was talking about living life, like where it's most fun is when you're on the roller coaster, but a lot of people, you start off and you're like terrified, like white knuckling it, right? And that we can all relate to that usually with our health journey and definitely with health coaching too. But she's
life
like,
in general.
The life and the fun though is when you have both hands up, like wide up in the air, and you're just screaming and squealing and laughing. Margie, and Melissa, you guys heard it too, right?
That was her moment.
Such a fun moment.
She was so place, and I think we did it once, and then she's like, no, yeah. do it again. And I think I fully committed at that point.
Yeah, so that's probably my favorite moment. But that is how, like, for all of us, I think that there is such a tangible and valuable lesson in that of how can we live with our life, our hands wide up to receive and to live life with that kind of excitement and that kind of just vibrancy. I mean, she just was this amazing, like radiant woman that just had so much energy and really, we were talking about that of like even how scary it was to move across the country to start this from the ground up, but that they had more life in the last 15 years of doing this than they probably ever did in that previous career, in that previous life of him seeing his kids as mannequins and of her not having her partner and her, love of her life. And they got to now go like sailing around the world and they got to meet so many amazing people and just make a huge impact. And so I guess since everybody else is kind of quiet on here, I'll go ahead and share one of my ideas that I'm thinking and considering doing is that she was our first health coach, right? And so I feel like there's such a call to somehow honor that, but then that was her main heart's cry too, was to continue to empower other people to become their own health coach so that they could make an impact in their families and their communities and in their relationships. And potentially if they wanted to leave a career that they were not passionate about anymore, or they were disenchanted, like Angela said, where they have that opportunity. And so something that I'm considering doing for those people that I really see, they have that heart of a health coach, like they have that same passion and fire for life, or maybe they don't fully yet, right? Because they're maybe a little bit still on their health journey or haven't even started yet. But I'm considering offering like a $25 scholarship for their first client of who in their life would they love to make an impact to. So that way, again, it's not, we don't want to just, I had really kind of gone back and forth about what I could do. I was considering, like I said, just in her honor and her name, offering, and this would be all of your own accord if you wanted to do this. I wish that Brandon and I had the funds to provide this for everybody. We do not. So consider this for yourselves even. But I had thought about doing it off of the coaching kit, but I think it would make a bigger impact somehow for them to be empowered to give that gift away to somebody else potentially in their life. Whether it be their mom, their best friend, a coworker that they see every day. And again, we would want to make sure that it's people that have the same like integrity, that have that same heart to serve and love others well. And that they don't have to have a huge passion for health, because that can continue to come over time. But that they want to continue to walk out their health journey as well. So I don't know, what is it? I would love to hear again, if that even just hearing that sparked some other thought of what we can do in Lori's name this month moving forward in her honor, and in her legacy. As we just continue this ripple out across the entire world, because that was their heart's cry when they even got started. And that's what it's just amazing to me, like I said, for them to just create this from the ground up, but to already have had that vision of this serving the whole world.
I'd like to say something. This is Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi. So when I first started coaching, it was mostly because my daughter wanted to do the program, but on my heart was my sister-in-law who could really use the program. And I think, in fact, Megan, you and I talked about it when I first became a coach in our Zoom call. Yep. And I just still have never had the nerve to bring it up to her. I mean, she knows what I do. She, of course, hasn't reached out to me, but I go back and forth of, I'm the one that should reach out to her. And I think with Lori's passing, it's just given me more empowerment to be bold. And I'm going to see her this week. So I just think it gives me more nerve to live out loud more than I have been.
And it's a painful way, right, Beth? I know that I've shared this with many of you before, but my dad was one of my original whys. We lost him sadly 9 years ago to cancer. But he was a lot like Lori too, where he just chased his dreams as well.
You're right.
Yeah, left Scotland, left everything he knew to come and pursue a dream in the States and a better life. And he fought very, very hard for his life. And so it was awful to see him go, but he was one of my original whys of, I can't bring him back, but I know that I can take that and hopefully help bless a whole lot of other people with helping their families live longer, healthier lives. And then we had another, I think I was fairly new. I don't even think I was executive director yet. And there was another man from my church that he had been heavy on my heart. I just really wanted to share with him. But I was intimidated, and so I didn't. And I just kept quiet and was hoping that somehow he would come and talk to me about it, but he never did. And sadly, he passed suddenly from a heart attack. He left his wife and their 4 kids behind, and that shook me. Shook me to my core. And not that obviously I think that I could have been like his be all, answer and extended his life, but it was more like I didn't have the clear conscience when I laid down at night that I didn't even offer this. Like, I had this gift that could have potentially made an impact and helped him and helped his kids to have a healthier dad and to have a dad around, and I didn't share. And that was the day that I remember moving forward and just saying, like, I'm just gonna, exactly what you said, Beth, I'm gonna live a whole lot louder, a whole lot bolder, with still a ton of love and a ton of grace about this. Is not about perfection. It's not trying to convince people that are not ready to get started on their health journey, but I am at least I'm gonna lay my head down at night knowing that I offered this gift, and not only the gift of health, but also the gift and option of health coaching, because again, we think about how much it's radically changed our lives, and now for many of you it's changing yours. And I think that that's even going to be the big focus as well moving forward, is to continue, and maybe that's what we do even in our page, is we just continue to share with each other, even how has Optavia continued to help you move forward in your health journey, but how has coaching impacted your lives and your families? And because that's the full picture of what we get to offer, and how we're going to be able to move a whole lot of other people too. And like I said, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to be ready when you share it, but I think that for all of us, it's going to be that conscience of knowing that we need the offer for people to say yes or no or not yet. Sarah, I was just reading your comment. I feel coaching is a little challenging. I find it hard to be bold when they aren't ready to listen. And yeah, there's going to be that, like, you read their cues. That's part of the soft skills, I think, of coaching. But sometimes I love to just ask questions that I know that people will usually ask in return. So sometimes I say, what's new in your life? Like, what are you excited about? What's going really great? Catch me up. And so sometimes I know that then they're usually going to ask that same question in return. And so if you're on your health journey, then you get to answer back and be like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for asking. I've been on a health journey. I am down, blank amount of pounds. I have so much more energy. So I've been playing with my kids a lot more. I'm feeling so much more patient with my spouse or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Likewise.
But I'm just having a blast, and I actually loved it so much. I've decided to pay it forward, and I'm hoping to make an impact in my community. So if you hear of anybody that's wanting to move forward in their lives too, then I'd love to share. And sometimes you just keep it that simple.
Yeah,
you just give them a little taste, little taste, and see if they ask another question and another. And I just feel like it's a game sometimes where it's like, I'm going to bounce the ball. Are you going to bounce it back to me? Or if not, okay, like I'm going to find another person that wants to play this game with me.
And sometimes if you are talking to people and you're sharing it, then you can rest easy, because it's like, I've been sharing this, but if nobody's really interested, then that's a signal. If you're picking up on it, that's great. If they're not bouncing the ball back, and there's really nobody in your life that's doing that, it might be a good idea to go get in some healthier circles, people who are more open to possibilities. And that's not just because you might gain some clients. Absolutely not just so that you can gain some clients, but that you can have healthier relationships. There's people who aren't afraid and are shutting down all of the roads into new things for them. It's people who are open-minded and could consider it and be honestly happy for you, regardless of what it means for them. So it might mean that you need to get in some different circles.
That's a tough one. I just saw your comment of, I can't do that.
Yeah,
sometimes I don't know if this is the case for you, Sarah, and hopefully this will be helpful for all of you listening, or even any of your new coaches that you might be bringing on. Sometimes when it's I can't do that, it's because you've maybe shared just a little bit too much of the how before finding out what their why is. So sometimes if you're trying to give people the breakdown of like what the 5-in-1 looks like, or what the price is, or what the whatever, then that might be their hang up or their concept. I know that I actually had one gal that I had gone back and forth with. And this is, again, why we always say, like, if it's over Messenger or something like that, you say something as simple as, if they are saying, like, what is it? And you just say, I'd love to chat and connect about your goals and see if this would be a good fit for you. Do you have time today or tomorrow? And what's a good number to reach you? You leave it that simple. If they start asking a bunch of questions, you usually will just say, it depends on what you want to accomplish. We have multiple paths to help people get healthy. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, your specific goals and how I can help. And so that way you just leave it very open, because a lot of times too, I remember when I was early on, I did not take that lesson, and I was feeling like bombarded with messages, and it was so tedious to keep going back and forth. And it would take like hours or sometimes days, what would have been a 20 to 30 minute phone conversation. And so learn from my mistakes of do not do that. Don't engage in all of the back and forth if it's especially over Messenger. But then sometimes too, if it's just out in public and you're, talking, and if you're giving away a little bit too much of the details of the how, sometimes they need to be awakened to what their actual why is, and then know what their daily habits and choices are, so that they actually maybe could see, this actually is something I could do. And so sometimes that's where those health assessments come in so handy.
The awakening.
Yep, that awakening process.
That's
so the situation was, I'll go ahead and speak. It's pretty quiet here. Yep. But I was talking with a coworker, and she's an RN because I work in the ICU. And we were talking about like what changes that she's making, that she's downloaded MyFitnessPal, and we were talking. So even just being able to go in and talk about like carbohydrates and like the sugars and show her like the nutrition aspect, I was able to at least, help her kind of move forward without being like really pushy. And she was just like, like, what do you eat? And I'm like, well, we have we try to keep it within, the calorie range and stuff, but there's bars and shakes. And she goes, I can't do that. And it's just like, and so it's like, okay, well, how much water are you drinking? And so I try to take it to areas where they can make the little changes and start thinking about it without bombarding it with them. But, I'm getting really close to my goal here of 50-pound weight loss, and people are noticing like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, and so I'm trying to be bold and just saying, hey, do you want to know more information? And I understand that not everybody's ready all the time, but I want to come alongside of them, even just as a friend,
sure.
And kind of get to know them more. But it just feels like it's slow going.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, again, what I've always found moving forward with some of those is it's great to just say, like, if they're starting to ask some of the specifics of details, I'm working with a health coach in an optimal health program. I'm eating 6 perfectly, like, protein carb balanced meals a day, and just really moving forward with building in a lot of new habits and just learning a ton from our education and our community. And so sometimes that way you can then invite them.
Yeah.
If you wanted to learn more about it, I'd love to, jump on a call with my coach and see if this would be a good fit for you. So, but yeah, anybody else? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and I've been working on it, so it will come.
Yep.
It will come with time, but
having the success and that people are noticing. That's awesome.
Yeah. People are noticing, and I love the fact that it's multi-faced. I really like the training that they have, that there's like 4 components, and so you can really have that support with the like-minded people, and it's just changing so many different ways that I think about everything. that it's really nice to be able to engage with people and say, you know what, you do have a choice and your choices matter. So
yeah, that's so great. I saw Vanessa just wrote in another question. I want to make sure I answer this right. So it says, as far as offering health coaching, do you do something similar to how do you share program? For instance, do you just share a little bit instead of oversharing? Is this, Vanessa, for somebody that's not yet on program or for somebody that is on program? Not yet? Okay, perfect. So Vanessa is actually a perfect example of this because we've been friends for a long time. And I've been coaching, and I think I sent her a message saying something like, hey, Vanessa, what's new? Like, probably had engaged in some other conversations. I can't really remember. I think it was about our kids or something beforehand. But then I do remember kind of being bold and just saying, Vanessa, I have no idea if this would be a good fit for you, but we're having an absolute blast. And we're looking to continue to expand our coaching practice and just continue to make an impact around the world. I know that you have the most amazing heart. You love serving, you love people, walk with such integrity and such faith. And I just think that you would love this and be amazing at this. Would you be curious to explore it? And I think you said no for a while, but then came back around and said, you know what, I think I would be curious to explore it. And so then I usually send Becca's, it's a great little, 13, 14 minute trilogy video that does just kind of like that overview of, what this can be. It lets people know that, we're from all walks of life. And so you let that do some of the talking. And then we set up that Coach Explore if they want to dig into it a little bit deeper again. And then that's not a health assessment, but it's essentially like a coach assessment of kind of digging in and figuring out, what are their goals? What would they love to accomplish? Who's on their heart? Who would they love to help? How would this be a blessing to them? Whether it be, tapping into some of that purpose and passion, or whether it be, creating some extra healthy finances. A lot of times it's because people have somebody that is very near and dear to their heart that they want to make an impact for. But that's where, either if I'm your business coach or whoever your business coach, we would love to do those Coach Explorers with you. And yeah, I actually love to approach people that I just know, like they're kind of my dream team. Vanessa's been on my dream team for a long time. And honestly, it took some boldness and it took me a long time to overcome some of those fears. But I feel like for me, we've been riding now with our hands up and we're just on the ride and we're having a whole lot more fun. So we're being a lot more bolder with sharing people that are not even on program, and just to see gosh, I don't know if this would be a good fit, but from all the people in our community, I just see you fitting into our coach family. And I think that it would be, something that you would really enjoy doing. And whether it be, you're making some great income or you're just wanting to serve people at a really high level, I think this might be something great for you to explore.
Yeah, because we can have so much more confidence than Lori had in the beginning. She had the confidence. There's visionaries and there's people that dream up this stuff and they don't worry about details and they don't care about if it's going to work or not. They were those. So we don't have to be that bold in terms of, hey, we don't know if it's going to work. Come try it out. It's absolutely going to work. And we're going to lose our feed here in a minute, but we just want to say that we love you guys. We love you guys.
You are our family.
Yeah.
And we now just get to continue to extend this family out. And so I hope that you'll be a part of that ripple and continue to do this in Lori's honor, and just do it with a whole lot more boldness and a whole lot more resolve at this point. So we love you guys though, and we can't wait to see who comes into this family as a result of this. Sadly, it's an unfortunate way, but we know that we can carry on her legacy, and that's what she would desire most.
Yep, absolutely.
So
have a great week.
Love you guys.